This is Bofades, and he is locked in ZF until he earns 1 million gold from this dungeon and this dungeon alone. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the series where we are locked in ZF until we earn 1 million gold. Today's episode is going to cover runs 281 through 290. Before we get started, let's take a look at what we sold overnight on Bofades here. Alright, looks like we made 5,077 gold, and not overnight, this is the last few days. A lot of trade goods, a lot of the regular stuff, some patterns. Our big thing was the plans for the Mithril Spurs, which we sold at the very beginning of the last episode, if you guys remember that. So let's get all this in the bags. All right, that puts us at 282,896 gold. However, that's not where we're going to start today. On one of the auction houses connected to this challenge, we sold the plans for the Light Earthforged Blade for 475 gold. And then we also sold one of those black metal capes. That's one of the blues that we've gotten from here. Total there is 2,314 gold. On another auction house, we sold Khan's leg guards for 2,521 gold. And then on the last auction house that we're going to cover, we sold our Blood Razor finally for 20,200 gold. This was one of our first epics that we got from here. And in case you're wondering if I sold that at market value, the answer is no. Market value is apparently 56,000, with the low end being 10K. We did sell it above the low end, which is good. So our sell was around right here. So on the first page of Undermine Exchange, but, you know, 20,000 is 20,000. We'll take it. All right, so let's go ahead and access our Warband Bank and pay ourselves. All right, we just paid ourselves 25,035 gold. That's the sum of all those sells, which puts us at 307,931 gold going into today's episode. So we are almost 31% of the way through this, guys and girls. And I find that number interesting in that we're getting really close to run 300. So it's almost like you make 100,000 gold per 100 runs, which mathematically speaking, that would be 10,000 gold every hour, because you get 10 runs done in an hour. So I know it's been a few days since my last video. We are in the middle of doctor appointment, dentist appointment, eye doctor appointment season here in the Bofades household. So I've been running my kids all over the city, making sure we're getting all that stuff done. And at the same time, my publishing house, we just launched a new book, and anytime we launch something new, we have to kind of spend some time on social media, videos, talking to influencers, things like that. So I've been pretty busy with that end of things. One of my many roles in the publishing house is marketing and talking to influencers and trying to get people, the right people, to make videos on our books. So anyway, that's where I've been for the last few days. Apologies for not doing daily videos this week. It's just, you know, it's how it goes sometimes, life, right? All right, before we get started, let's take a look at a few comments. The first one says, you do just 10 runs per tune, or you play all day long? All right, so I definitely don't play all day long. And to be honest with you guys, before these challenges, in June that is, I was spending quite a bit of time playing, just doing random stuff in this game, right? Maybe playing in between, I don't know, 2 and 4 hours a day during my summer break. But ever since we started this challenge, it's like, you know, I have to spend an hour doing the runs per character, and then I got to spend an additional 30 to 45 minutes editing those 10 runs into a video that is, like, you know, not annoying to watch on YouTube. So that 3 or 4 hours that I was spending playing has been kind of cut in half because of this challenge, where when I do play, I'm mostly only playing for about 2 hours a day, or a session, I should say. And then the rest of my time is spent editing the footage. So I haven't been spending any time in raids or Mythic Plus or even PvP. Devoted most of my WoW gaming time to making these videos for you guys, which I don't regret or resent. I really enjoy this. This is really fun. But all the typical stuff you would do if you were playing this game, I've kind of just put on the back burner for this. All right, next comment says, you have a fan on Hardcore Classic. I saw someone die named Bofades last weekend and thought it was you for a second before remembering you shared that you were out of town. Yeah, I'll let you guys know if I ever create a Hardcore Classic character named Bofades or named Socrates. The two characters that my wife and I created, they're named after, like, our very first characters that we ever created a long time ago, like 20 years ago. So we're just trying to, like, recreate those early days of playing together, but in hardcore. But those characters have been on the shelf for a while because of all the other things that have been going on this summer. We've been really busy. We also just celebrated our 21-year wedding anniversary. So a lot going on here. Next comment says, I'm watching from Norway. I wanted to highlight this comment because my heart is a little broken with the U.S. loss in the World Cup. And I, like, you know, thousands or millions of others, have jumped on the Norway bandwagon. So I don't know if you're a soccer fan or whatever, but I'm rooting for Norway to finish out the World Cup, win it all. All right, last comment says, Shower Thought, what do we call you? Are you Socrates, Bofades, or Dad Gamer 123? As you start new projects, will this matter? Will you create new channels for new characters? As far as my name goes, my name is John, but you don't need to call me by my name or whatever. You can You can refer to me as the guy that is in charge of the Bofades channel, or the guy that's in charge of the Socrates channel, the man behind the curtain or whatever. I don't think my name is important when it comes to what we're doing in these channels. You will, however, see my full name, my full government Christian name at the bottom of some of the books that I talk about from time to time. Not in today's video. I already have a plan for today's video if we were to get a blue. We're gonna have a sponsor for our first blue drop of the day, which is kind of funny. I feel kind of awkward doing it, but it is what it is. So yeah, I would say you don't need to necessarily call me by a name or anything. You could just say hey in the comments. All right, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and eat our fried bonefish. And let's see if we can get another blood razor. That'd be cool. Have another one that we can sell for 20k plus. Wow, okay, our first green that dinged was on the first pack there, Blood Forge Shield, followed by an Arachnidian Cape. Going back to that guy's comment about doing 10 runs per day versus just playing all day long. I think at some point to make this fair, I need to do like 40 or 50 runs on Socrates and let Bofades take like a small break so that I can catch up on Socrates and they can be at the same number of runs. And the best way to do that, I think, is to just jump on Socrates for like, you know, a Saturday morning and just do like 30 or 40 runs at a time for like 3 or 4 hours and make that like a mega video. Jade bracers, Scorpashi breastplate, lunar vest. So I say that I need to catch up on Socrates, but I haven't checked his auction houses this morning, and he has like 4 items that are up that could literally end this challenge or this competition today. Jade belt, celestial belt. One of the beneficial things that's like coming out of this whole challenge is the data that we're getting. Like, we're almost 300 runs in, and we haven't seen a single pair of glorious light plates, or a skull flame shield, or a blade of Hannah, or a T-Boost, which goes to show how incredibly rare those things are, and why farmers like me get so hyped up, so excited whenever they drop. I think it's safe to assume that transmog farmers like me are in this, not necessarily even for the gold. I mean, the gold is nice if you do it enough. Rather, I think a lot of us are in this because we're addicted to RNG. The slot machine aspect of doing this. War Leader's Greaves, Bloodlust Boots. McCain had speed on it this time. I could be wrong, though. There are some people that might do this just for the gold, and they don't really care about the RNG and the dings and all that. Speaking of the dings, a few episodes have gone by since I've talked about what the add-on is, and someone did ask in the comments a couple days ago. The add-on to get the prices to pop up on the screen is called Loot Appraiser Reloaded, and then you'll have to do a price source. Usually TSM is the best one, but my crappy computer and internet, I have to do Ouroboros Exchange. And then as far as like what you want it to notify you of, you can set gold thresholds. Here I have 1,000, 10,000, and 50,000. Hey, we got another plans for the light Earthforge blade. We just sold one of those. That's good that we got another one. Do you guys know that it drops here? First vendoring session there, 279 gold. Wind Chaser Orb, 16k. Potent shoulders. Blood Forge shoulder pads. Speaking of shoulder pads, or shoulders, I'm getting a tattoo tomorrow that's going to start at my wrist and go all the way up to my shoulder. It's basically going to be like a vine or a few different vines that are wrapping around my arm all the way to the top of my arm. And the vines are going to weave around and over all the other tattoos that I have on my arm. And one thing that he's going to have to like weave around is a literal Socrates that I have on my upper left bicep. This is what the tattoo is of, Socrates on a chair. But anyway, I have a lot of other tattoos all up and down my arm, and these vines are going to make it seem like they're all connected, like it's a full sleeve. Because right now it just looks like I have 7 disconnected tattoos on my arm. Hey, we got our first blue ruined ring. And this first blue drop is brought to you today by The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This is an edition that my publishing house put together. So if you don't own a copy yet, go ahead and click the link in the description and pick yours up today. So as awkward as that was, I think that's how we're going to do sponsored content moving forward on this channel at least. And we have over 100 books in our catalog, and I'm going to be mindful of the types of books that I should include here that would be sponsoring our blue drops. Another pair of Jade bracers. Warbringer's Shield. High Chief's Bindings. Another vendoring sesh there, 295 gold. Just realized I said sesh there instead of session. I don't know why I did that. I made a video on my book talk account the other day talking about Diogenes and 21 Pilots. And I talked about how Diogenes was the type of person that just literally couldn't care less about what people thought of him or what their titles were, things like that. And then I juxtaposed that with Blurry Face, or Stressed Out, I guess, by 21 Pilots, centering on the lines about being insecure and caring about what people think. And I created like this spectrum where on one side, the far left, you have Diogenes who doesn't care at all. And on the far right, you have like a blurry face, someone that cares so much that it like makes them sick with anxiety. And that the middle of that spectrum might be like a sweet spot where you don't care too much what people think, but you also don't care too little. Anyway, I put myself to the right a little bit, like closer to a blurry face than a Diogenes. And I've spent the last few days asking people kind of where they would be on the spectrum. Like, are they closer to Diogenes in that they don't care at all what people think? Or are they like really close to like a blurry face where they're just like constantly thinking about what people are thinking of them? So I wanted to open up that question to you guys and gals. Where do you think you would fit on that spectrum? Brutish breastplate. I have to like slowly say that one. Keeper's bindings, Scorpashi breastplate. Pride Lord gloves. Hey, we got another blue, Brain Lash. And this BOE blue is brought to you by As a Man Thinketh. Great little book for anyone that's interested in some kind of like basic introductory stoicism or self-help kind of ideas and concepts. Link in the description, as always. Another vendoring session there, 511 gold. All right, Exalted Girdle, Resplendent Sarong. We also got some Merciless Legs in that drop. Kind of a big one. All right, guys and gals, that does it for these 10 runs. This is the stuff that I decided to keep. I've already disenchanted everything. I wasn't very lucky on the Greater Eternal Essence, unfortunately. We only got 15. Decided to keep the 2 crappy blues because they were sponsored today by a couple of different books. As far as Loot Appraiser goes, our looted item value today is 811,873 gold. The items of note here, we'll start over here. Jade Bracers, I kept 2 of those. 5,000 US region. And before I continue, none of this is worth looking at on Undermine Exchange today, to be honest. We're just going to look at Ouroboros and move on. I'm going to keep the Bloodlust boots. Anything that has blood in the title, Bloodforged Shield, Bloodforged Shoulder. We're going to keep blood stuff, okay? The boots, apparently 58k US region. The shield, 35k. The shoulder, 6k. Also keeping the Bonecaster Sarong of the Aurora, 27k apparently. War Leader's Greaves, it says 67, but you can see on Thrall here it's at 28. Merciless Legs, these are good. 88k is the region. You could probably get 30 to 40 out of these maybe, or at least that's what I'm hoping I can get out of them. Resplendent Sarong of the Quickblade. I feel like it might be baited on this one. I don't know, but those numbers are worth taking a closer look at, so I decided to keep this. And then lastly, we got the Exalted Girdle. Exalted stuff is usually pretty good. I don't know about 800,000 good or even 109,000 good. But as always, if you can get 10 to 30k out of these greens, these just kind of like random greens that you get here, I feel like that's pretty good. Oh, and guys, did you know that the plans for the Light Earth Wars blade drop here? We got one of those. So anyway, that does it for this episode. If you enjoy this sort of content, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever it is you do to engage with YouTube channels and YouTube videos. I feel like we're just a few days away from something big selling. By now, Bofades has quite a few things on the auction house that are worth quite a bit. Not as much as Socrates, but there are some things up for 30, 40, 50, 100k. And I have this gut feeling that in the next few days or a week or so, we're going to see a big sell. Not that the Blood Razor wasn't a big sell. I'm thinking that we're going to see something else that's going to be pretty big. But anyway, until next time, take care. See you soon.